It's time to listen to the podcast that houses a safe space for casual, cold, and dumbest takes on the world of professional wrestling and sports. Open up that fridge and grab that very cold lasagna. Hello everyone, welcome to the Very Cold Lasagna podcast, the podcast housing a safe and open forum for casual, cold, and even the dumbest takes on WWE, All Elite Wrestling, the NFL, and the worldwide world of professional wrestling and sports. I'm your host, DylanLasagna, and I can't believe I've been doing this podcast for about a month, and it's crazy. It's really crazy how time flies, and although, yeah, it's been a slow month, like, not just for this podcast, but in general, like, 2021 has been off to a slow start. I've been having fun. I've been having a lot of fun making these episodes, making this podcast, and just talking about like my really stupid takes for you guys. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I really hope you enjoy it, and I hope we continue to grow with this laid back, casual podcast, this kind of style of podcast as we move forward into the year. So yeah, let's keep it rolling. And I really hope we continue to enjoy this journey with each other. Now, with that being said, I got another wrestling episode for you all, especially for all you wrestling fans, whether you're casual, core, hardcore, what name you. But before we get into that, I gotta plug all the stuff, the usual stuff. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Very Cold Lasagna, and if you missed any of the episodes, subscribe here on YouTube. Check out any of the vodcasts that you missed, and turn on that notification bell so you'll be notified of every single upload that goes onto this channel, be it a vodcast or an extra, or hopefully down the line I'll do clips. But subscribing and turning on the bell and checking this YouTube channel whenever a video goes up is the best way to be certain that you are supporting this channel every way you can. And if you like listening to this podcast on an audio format, I am also available on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts, so you can get your fill on everything that is very cold, like this podcast. But anyway, that is all for now with all the plugs and stuff, because we have to plug a lot of stuff. Let's get into the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble that happened January 31st, 2021, as we turn the corner from the end of January, and now we're into February. We capped off January with the 2021 WWE Royal Rumble, the one night a year where WWE begins their, I guess you could call it postseason. I guess you could call it their road to their version of the Super Bowl. So this is the one time of the year where 30 men, 30 women duke it out, not in like one whole match, but two Royal Rumble matches, a match where 30 people fight over against each other, throw each other over the top rope. Last man standing wins an opportunity at a world title, or in the case of the women, a women's title of their choosing at WrestleMania. So going into this, there was not really a lot of hype. There was not a lot of certainty in regards to who would win, especially if you're someone like me that hasn't been watching the product, and whether that's in a month, 2 months, 3 months, or even a year, or even like 5 years. Yeah, you don't really know what the hell you're going into when it comes to the Royal Rumble this time around. So going in, I had no idea. I really didn't have an idea of what to expect going in. So with that in mind, here is my 2021 Royal Rumble recap. The way I'm doing this recap is not like, I'm going to go way in depth into these matches. Like, I'm going to break it down move by move by move by move by move. These are just my personal highlights. These are like, I do like notes and stuff, but I want to break it down like from what I think was the most noteworthy of what actually happened during each match. So with that being said, let's get right into the first match. And the first match on the card was actually on the kickoff because WWE likes to make last-minute changes to the card. But this was a match that we knew beforehand, but we just didn't know it was getting moved to the kickoff until earlier in the day of the Rumble. And that was the Women's Tag Team Champions, Charlotte and Asuka, going up against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Now, if you remember my episode in regards to the predictions I did prior to this episode, I mentioned that I didn't care for this match. Why should I care? Why should you care? Especially considering the tag team champions and the challengers were in like separate feuds. Charlotte was doing her thing with Lacey Evans. Asuka was doing her thing with Alexa Bliss. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler were doing their thing with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. So why should anyone that's a viewer care about the Women's Tag Team Championships being defended? I don't know. I guess, again, if you're a fan of either one of these women's wrestlers. So, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to this match. I even forgot that kickoffs were still a thing, to be honest with you. So, one thing to note here was that the ending featured Charlotte Flair hitting, got the hot tag. She hit natural selection on both Shayna and Nia. But as she was about to lock in figure 4 to bridge it to a figure 8, Ric Flair's music came out, and Lacey Evans from behind with the referee dealing with Ric Flair. She stopped Charlotte from bridging into the figure 8 on Shayna. And then Asuka tried to fight Nia at ringside, but she just got yeeted into the announce desk. And then Charlotte tried to lock it again, but I guess Ric Flair gave Lacey Evans brass knuckles, and Lacey hit Charlotte with the woman's right with the referee distracted again with Ric Flair, and Charlotte was KO'd. She was KO'd, and Nia hit the leg drop on Charlotte, and Nia and Shayna are the Women's Tag Team Champions again. So that was the Women's Tag Team Championship match, and I couldn't really care. I could really care less about that match, but nonetheless, Charlotte and Asuka are probably going to get a rematch somewhere down the line, and I just don't know what they're going to do with the Raw Women's Championship. So we get into the actual show itself, and I was kind of surprised they went with this match first, the WWE title match. A WWE champion going up, Drew McIntyre, defending his title against Bill Goldberg. Big Bill, not the one from Nintendo. Bill, what's his name? No, it's Bill Goldberg. So I was actually surprised WWE put on this match first, because, well, it's Goldberg, and we don't, in recent memory what happens in Goldberg in title matches. WWE even mentioned what happens, every time Goldberg's in a title match, well, he wins all the time. So I realized later on that I'm actually glad they put on this match first so the internet can react and just move on. Because if it happened later in the show, well, the internet's just probably going to be this cross-armed and pissy throughout the rest of the night. If it was halfway or even ended the show, which I don't think it would have anyway, then the internet was just being like, why did Goldberg do this and that? I think whether the internet Goldberg won or lost, the internet would have been pissy. So one thing I noticed right off the bat when Goldberg came out, he changed up to his ring gear. Not too much though, but he changed it from his traditional ring trunks, his iconic ring trunks that you'd often see in a lot of his matches. He changed it from his traditional ring trunks to now wearing Brock Lesnar shorts. So he went from trunks to basketball shorts in essence. So that was a little bit interesting. So I think I kind of dig that. I kind of dig that Goldberg look. So That's pretty cool. So the match is about to start, but it actually doesn't because Drew McIntyre headbutted Goldberg, and it sent Goldberg ringside. And unfortunately for McIntyre, he wanted to hit a Claymore, but Goldberg sent him into the steel steps, and Goldberg hit a spear onto McIntyre into the barricade. And the refs have to separate McIntyre and Goldberg, and the officials are asking McIntyre if he's okay, if he wants to go. McIntyre says, yes, ring the damn bell, even though he's clutching his ribs. And Goldberg tries to hit another spear, but Drew kicks him in the head with a Claymore, kicks him in the head first, and then he hits a Claymore for a 2 count. But Drew tries to go for another Claymore, but Goldberg ducks, and then he hits 2 spears, and Goldberg still ends up with the 2 count. So Goldberg's wondering what he has to do. But then we think we're going to get the ending here, right? We think Drew McIntyre is going to lose this match. The casuals are probably going to go crazy for this. And Goldberg lifts up Drew for the jackhammer. He hits an almost clean jackhammer. One of the more cleaner jackhammers in Goldberg matches. So Goldberg hits the jackhammer, but just barely on the thick of skin. Drew McIntyre kicks out, and Goldberg is very stunned. Goldberg doesn't know what to do. He's like, he kicked out? Are you for real? Are you for real here? So Big Bill gets up. He goes back to the corner. He tries to go for his trademark spear, but Drew dodges out of the way. Goldberg hits the ring post, and Drew sets him up for a Claymore, and Drew McIntyre retains the WWE Championship. I'm actually shocked they went with this direction, because I would have thought that they were gonna have Drew McIntyre lose to Goldberg, so WWE can get that short-term casual appeal for WrestleMania, to sell like the limited amount of tickets that WWE can get for WrestleMania with Goldberg as champion. But no, I think this, by having Drew McIntyre win against Goldberg, this is like a testament. This is like a testament to how not just creative and Mr. McMahon trust McIntyre, but possibly also Goldberg. Like, he thinks McIntyre is championship material. And with the right creative direction and better creative direction, McIntyre is a much better champion and can be a big draw if WWE books him right going forward. So it'll be interesting what's next for either man, especially Goldberg, if he comes back for WrestleMania season, and I'm pretty sure he will. And for now, they shook hands, they hugged it out, and no post-match shenanigans, no Miz Money in the Bank cash-in. And for a Goldberg match, this was it wasn't anything fancy, anything special, but for what it was, for how it was booked, it was balanced. It was everything like balanced. Goldberg had a good performance, actually. He actually had a good performance. It wasn't like all inspiring like the hardcore IWC wanted to see like all the flips and kicks and stuff, but he actually had a good performance, like better than when he had against The Fiend. So that was a pretty good performance by Goldberg, and McIntyre obviously was booked to keep the belt. So I guess you could call it a win-win of sorts. So as now we move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship between Sasha Banks and Carmella. Yeah, I didn't know this was like booked onto the card until during the pay-per-view. And to be honest with you, that's why I didn't really care too much about this match. So Sasha won with the Banks statement, Reginald Carmela Sommelier, or like her assistant or something, got thrown out earlier in the match. So I don't know what they're going to do with Carmella, like going forward with this new gimmick. Like, I think it has the potential to be something, but if they keep having her lose to Sasha Banks, this is like the third time she's lost to Sasha. The first one was like DQ or something, and then this one's decisively. But it's like, I don't know what they're gonna do with it. She has the sex appeal. She's not afraid to show it. She has the gimmick, but I don't know, like, why they booked her to lose to Sasha 3 times. Is it 3 times or 2 times? But nonetheless, she's lost already twice to Sasha Banks, and she's probably not going to get another opportunity, especially with WrestleMania season, like, getting into full gear. So, Sasha Banks remains your SmackDown Women's Champion, and she's already on the lookout for the Royal Rumble winner, which, by the way, is the next match we're going to talk about. The Women's Royal Rumble match, the first Rumble match of the night. Now, obviously, with it being a Royal Rumble match, there's a lot that happened during this match. So I broke it down into my personal highlights from the match. So Bayley kicked it off at number 1. So that was kind of a surprising development. Bayley kicked off the match at number 1, and then Naomi made her return at number 2. So a little bit of a history there. So, like, Bayley beat Naomi back at, I think it was Super Showdown last year, and now they're kicking it off. They're kicking it off in the Royal Rumble, and then Bianca Belair entered at 3. So that was something to keep in mind. And Billie Kay entered at number 4, but she didn't enter it right away because she was trying to convince various Rumble entries to collab with her and team up with her to have her start her Rumble performance. And right from then on, you were going to get a lot of either NXT cameos or surprise entries because, well, WWE's main roster is void of women's wrestlers, like literally void of it. So, starting with the 5 spot, you got Shotzi Blackheart, which, by the way, she should get a main roster call up as soon as she starts winning matches against Candice LeRae and other heel women's wrestlers. But Shotzi Blackheart, who actually comes out in her tank, which is cool, and she actually shot Billie Kay's pictures, so that was kind of funny. And then you got Toni Storm and coming in at number 7, and the first Legends cameo, which was very hard to believe, Jillian Hall. I know some casuals won't be able to remember this one, but Jillian Hall was this woman, like she had this very like weird gimmick where she like would sing songs very badly back in the day. Go search her up on YouTube and you'll know what I'm talking about. Jillian Hall singing. So Jillian comes out at number 8 and starts singing, and she actually teams up with Billie Kay to have Billie jumpstart her Rumble performance. So we get a bunch more NXT cameos. Santana Garrett at number 12, and then like I don't know if it's a main roster call up yet, but it's an NXT cameo. Rhea Ripley enters at number 14, followed immediately by her WrestleMania opponent last year and the Rumble winner last year too, Charlotte Flair at 15, and the internet was probably going having flashbacks. It's like, oh shit. Charlotte is gonna win, isn't she? Charlotte's gonna win, isn't she? Because Charlotte's just strolling down the ramp, observing the competition, like taking her time and all that. And the internet's like, oh, fuck. She's going to win this, isn't she? But 5 entries earlier, actually, I forgot to mention this. Victoria returned at number 10, and then followed by Charlotte. Tori Wilson entered at number 17, and then Mickie James returned at number 20. So, as soon as Mickie James entered at 20, Bianca Belair, like during Mickie James' entrance, eliminated Bayley. So nice little continuity there. I like that continuity right there. So after Mickie James, Alicia Fox returned at number 21 and was soon followed by R-Truth. I thought R-Truth was the next entrant. Like, I thought he attacked someone from behind and he was going to enter the Rumble, but no, it's just R-Truth, the 24/7 champion, and his catering crew, and chasing him, and Alicia Fox was having none of it. So Alicia Fox and R-Truth are fighting off the 24/7 title catering crew, and when R-Truth is distracted, Alicia Fox wins the 24/7 title from R-Truth within a match. So apparently the 24/7 title is still a thing. No disrespect to R-Truth. I think R-Truth is a great and funny guy. I just don't know why the 24/7 title is still a thing. So Alicia Fox eventually gets eliminated later, and R-Truth gets the 24/7 title back. But it's just some random ass thing they threw in the Women's Rumble. But I guess that was a cool moment. So Carmella comes in at number 24 with Reginald by her side. And this was where things started getting interesting. So Nikki Cross tries to eliminate Carmella, but every time she would eliminate her, Reginald would catch her to save her. But this would come to an end because Tamina, as soon as she was coming down the ramp, Reginald was looking at the ring, but he turned around and Reginald inadvertently put Carmella down when Carmella was already tossed over the top before, but she didn't touch the floor yet until Reginald put her down, and Carmella was inadvertently eliminated by herself, and Reginald got super kicked for his troubles, and Carmella was pissed off by what just happened. Carmella was arguing with the officials that Reginald had inadvertently cost her the Rumble match. Like, holy shit. Holy shit, Reginald. What the hell are you doing? What are you doing, man? But anyway, so Carmella gets eliminated by her assistant for reasons. And a couple entries later, Alexa Bliss enters at number 27, and she immediately got gangbanged by everyone because, well, I think they're smart enough to know what's going to happen next. Because what happened next after they ganged up on her, the lights went out, and Alexa Bliss immediately rose up, and everyone was just like circling around her. The lights went out, and like she was like in the middle of the ring, like on the ropes. She was like, oh yeah. But I'm about to transform. But Rhea Ripley's like, nope, not gonna happen. She threw Rhea Ripley's like, I ain't afraid of no ghost. She threw Alexa Bliss out of the ring, like unceremoniously, to be honest. And Alexa Bliss is out. Alexa Bliss is out just like that. It was kind of weird, to be honest. But then again, I think it sort of protects her from having her Phoenix side potentially being ruined in this match. So I guess the quick elimination helps. There. So a spot earlier, Lana returned at 26, and a couple of other spots later, Nia Jax enters at 29. So they're continuing this thing with Lana and Nia Jax, continuity. And as soon as Lana sees Nia Jax, oh boy, the spark's about to fly. Like, Lana gets chased by Nia Jax all around the ring, but again, they kind of break the rules here. They roll around under the ring under the ropes to avoid elimination, and Lana slaps Nia, and this pisses her off, and she tries to chase Lana, but Lana pulls the rope and Nia tosses herself over the top rope to win. Not to win, but to have Lana eliminate Nia Jax. Revenge for all the times that Nia put Lana through a table. So nice continuity there. So Natalya was the final entrant in this Rumble match, and she apparently won it in a match against Tamina. I don't know what. I didn't know that they switched the announcements. That the men's announcement was going to be 1 and 2, and women's was going to be 30. So they swapped those reveals on WWE Backstage. So we get to the final 4. It's Charlotte, Rhea, Bianca, and Natalya. So Natalya gets eliminated by Bianca, while Charlotte gets eliminated by both Bianca and Rhea Ripley. But keep this in mind. Rhea and Bianca had to double team Charlotte to get her eliminated. So they eliminate her eventually. So this ensures a new winner. And then we get to the final 2, Rhea and Bianca. They put each other's best shot on each other. But in the end, Bianca Belair outlasts Rhea Ripley to win the Women's Royal Rumble. And it was kind of a slog to get through, to be honest. But it still had its moments. Naomi returned. Jillian was kind of the big surprise return. I did not see that coming. The 24/7 title stuff was kind of cool. I was also very surprised that Alexa Bliss got eliminated in short order. But the final 2, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, I liked that because it showcased that the future is bright, hopefully, with these two. And it probably shows that Rhea Ripley could be called up to the main roster. And who knows what the future holds. And that was just the big spotlight that they got. And in the end, WWE got the right end goal. And that was to have Bianca Belair win this match. And you could clearly tell that it was the right call because the expression, the emotion, the tears she shed, especially during her interview, she was still in disbelief that she actually won the Royal Rumble. It just sucks that she wasn't able to experience it with the live crowd, and I just wish she had that experience with fans, because that what makes the Rumble so special, the emotion, and she clearly showed that she wanted this moment, and it would have been so much more with the fans. And I'm really glad that she won it. I hope she enjoys it, because her next stop is a championship match with the champion of her choosing at WrestleMania in the pirate ship that is currently housed by Tom Brady. Next up, we got the Universal title match and between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, and this was a last man standing match. And I gotta be honest with you, the first half of this match was pretty slow, but then there were a lot of crazy shit that happened in the second half. And let's talk about the first half. It looked like at first that Roman Reigns was going to completely dominate his way to a three-peat over Owens, especially when Reigns threw Kevin Owens off the bleachers of the Thunderdome through a table. But then Kevin Owens got up at the count of 9. And then that's when the tide started turning a little bit, when Kevin Owens started going to the backstage area of Tropicana Field. But first, I would out of nowhere, Kevin Owens got run over by a golf cart. He got run over by a golf cart. That's insane. I totally did not expect that. It was a total 180 of unexpectedness. I did not expect that to happen at all. I was like, Kevin Owens walking into the backstage area, and then suddenly out of nowhere, boom! Roman Reigns with a golf cart hits Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns is committing to playing GTA, Grand Theft Auto. Oh my god! But then Kevin Owens turns the tide. He hits a pop-up powerbomb on the announce table. in the backstage area, of the Thunderdome, and then he goes for a splash onto Reigns through that same table, but Roman Reigns gets up, and then Kevin Owens beats him down some more, and then puts him on a spray paint table, and Kevin Owens goes to a nearby forklift, puts it all the way up, and then Kevin Owens flips off the top of the forklift and flies onto Roman Reigns through that spray paint table. So a lot of crazy stuff is happening right now in this match. So they bring it back to the Thunderdome, inside the Thunderdome, and right away Roman Reigns spears Owens through the stage. But Roman Reigns doesn't win because Owens saves himself by rolling off the stage to stop the count. So at this point, Roman Reigns got a set of handcuffs and tries to handcuff Owens onto this like steel staging rig, the part of the stage. But Owens fights it off, and Reigns himself is now handcuffed to the staging pillar thanks to Owens. And Roman Reigns is about to lose because he's handcuffed to that staging pillar, but in a last-ditch effort, Roman Reigns throws the official that's counting into the stage area, like onto the steel beam. That's what you call it, steel beam, and it knocks out the official. So Reigns, he's a smart man. This tribal chief, he's like so cunning. He's smart, man. He's really smart. So, like, Roman Reigns, like, tries to get out, and then Kevin Owens continues to beat him down, but Reigns, once again, hits the dick punch. He blows Kevin Owens, and he buys himself some time, and Paul Heyman gets a key to unlock the handcuffs for Roman Reigns. And once both men get up, Roman Reigns locks in the guillotine submission hold to knock out Owens, to pass him out, and Roman Reigns retains the Universal Championship. Now, like I said, the first half was pretty slow. It was just a lot of fighting all around the Thunderdome. Not a lot of crazy stuff happened. But the second half, there's definitely a lot of crazy stuff for a last man standing match. I really like the spot where Roman Reigns went full on GTA San Andreas onto Kevin Owens with the golf cart. That was pretty funny. And yeah, I think the match did what it had to do and make Roman Reigns a strategic yet cunning and like very heelish individual. But Roman Reigns did what he had to do to win this Universal Championship match. And even though Kevin Owens lost 3 straight to Roman Reigns, like, he obviously fought till the very end. WWE booked him that way, to fight till the very end. But now it's time for Roman Reigns to move on to other things, especially going into WrestleMania. He now has to worry about the men's Rumble winner, whoever that will be, or whoever will probably win the Elimination Chamber match in February. So Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, is moving on to bigger, better things. He remains your Universal Champion. So now it's time for your main event of the evening, the men's Royal Rumble match. And what way to start it off than have 2 men that have been fighting each other since, well, all of last year, like first half of last year, until this man suffered an injury, which was a bummer. Edge and Randy Orton started off at 1-2, and right away they started brawling all around ringside, and they even circumvented the rules by rolling under the ropes to avoid elimination. They were just fighting each other like crazy. So Edge took out Randy Orton with the execution onto the announce table, and Edge grabbed the steel chair and injured in storyline Randy Orton's knee, and it forced Randy Orton out of the match. Technically, he wasn't eliminated yet, but Randy Orton had to leave the match to check his injured knee. So Edge remained in the match. So Edge finally had to technically go back in the ring. So after that, a lot of nothing happened. But the first surprise of the night was freaking Carlito Caribbean Cool coming back to WWE. And my God, he looks fantastic, man. He put on some gains. He looks great. And my God, he looks so much better than he did 10 years ago. My God, if WWE wants to use, I don't know if WWE will ever resign him, but if they do resign him, or at least put him in a really good mid card role, he looks the part. He looks the part, and he's still got that Apple gimmick. Sorry, it's my memory still jogged from years ago with Carlito, but he looks great. He looks great, and he's still got it as a wrestler. So, man, I still can't get over how great Carlito appearance was. And then Damian Priest of NXT entered at number 14, and although I don't know too much about Damian Priest, he really impressed with his in-ring performance. And then Michael Cole did a good job explaining a little bit about him, especially with his martial arts background. And, well, it clearly showed. He had a martial arts background, and it looked impressive. And he even eliminated Kane, who entered at 18. He eliminated Kane very early in Kane's 18th Rumble appearance. That's insane. That's a big that's a big elimination for a young guy in Priest. So if this Priest guy comes to the main roster, I would certainly like to know more about him, because he looks like a very interesting guy. So Bobby Lashley and Big E had this cool standoff that resulted in a stalemate. They continued to fight each other. And then at 23, at number 20, no, not 23, 24, Christian, after 7 years of dealing with concussion issues, Christian finally made his in-ring return. He finally got cleared to compete in a match. And he still got it. He's like with Edge last year. Christian has still got it. And although there's no fans in attendance, it was still a great moment to see Christian in a WWE ring once again. It was a really great moment to see him wrestle again. So AJ Styles enters soon after, and his tall bodyguard, Ojmos, whatever his name is, helped him eliminate Big E and Rey Mysterio. And then at the last two entries, Seth Rollins made his took a break from fatherhood, took a break from helping Becky Lynch, and made his return at number 29. And then Braun Strowman was the last entry at number 30. So this match came down to the wire, although I'll admit it was a bit frenetic, it was a lot of things were happening very fast, if I would be honest with you. So Daniel Bryan, who entered at the halfway point, the internet favorite to win this match, Daniel Bryan, was eliminated by Seth Rollins. He didn't even make it to the final four, so that's crazy. Daniel Bryan was the sixth, he was in the top six, and he was eliminated before Matt Riddle, who was also eliminated by Seth Rollins. So the final four is Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, Christian, and Edge. So Seth Rollins tries to convince Braun Strowman to team up against Edge and Christian, but Braun Strowman wants none of it. Braun Strowman overpowers Edge and Christian, and as Braun Strowman tries to eliminate Edge, Edge tries to sleeper hold Braun Strowman on the top rope, but it's not work. Braun Strowman's not going to let him do that. But here comes Christian, who tries to eliminate Braun Strowman, but Seth Rollins comes behind and eliminates both Braun Strowman and Christian. So both of them are out. And then Edge instantly eliminates Seth Rollins. So we all think Edge won the Rumble, right? Edge survived at number 1 and won the Rumble. But nope, Randy Orton was never eliminated, and RKO's Edge. And Randy Orton's bragging and boasting of how he's going to eliminate Edge and make his life once again a living hell by winning the Rumble. But nope, Randy Orton is about to send Edge over the top rope, but Edge counters and sends Randy Orton over the top rope instead. And Edge survives at number 1, lasting 56 minutes, and wins the Royal Rumble. How crazy is that? Edge, a wrestler that won the Royal Rumble, like returning from injury 11 years ago at, I think it was 28. Oh, no, 27. At number 27, returning from injury, and then he had to relinquish the World Heavyweight title a year later. And then 9 years later, after he had to relinquish the world title, he returned at the 2020 Royal Rumble. And then a year after that, he wins the Rumble. That's a great story right there. That's a great feel-good moment right there for Edge. And like with the Women's Rumble, it was a little, like, not as big of a slog, but I think this was a fun Royal Rumble match. Again, that told a great story. That told a story as we went along for Edge. The announcer was telling that Edge has lasted this amount, and they're also for Randy Orton, because they're eventually getting to that way with Randy Orton and Edge being the last two. But again, the way we got there also provided some good moments. Carlito being at number 8, like, he looked. I just can't get over how good he looks. He looks. He worked him, like, he worked himself. He made himself look better, and honestly, he looks like he's in the best shape of his life. And Damian Priest had a great performance, and I'd like to know more about him once he gets called up to the main roster. And Christian came back after 7 years of being inactive as a wrestler, and so that was such a great moment for him. So overall, 2 great Royal Rumble winners in Bianca Belair and Edge, and this was a surprisingly good pay-per-view. Going in not knowing what to expect. I should do that more often. I should really do that more often. But now we're officially on the road to WrestleMania. We're officially on the road to WrestleMania 37. We're on the road to a stadium that officially plays in the Super Bowl, that officially hosts the Super Bowl in, like, nearly 6 days, or however many days. So it's going to be an interesting road to Tampa. So I'm looking forward to what's at stake, how they're going to build up this card for 2 nights, what's going to be on that card. Hopefully it's a quality one, and I wonder who Edge is going to pick, whether it's going to be Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns. That's like, whichever champion he picks, they're both going to have a great story behind it. Edge versus Roman Reigns, spear versus spear. Edge having his comeback story versus Roman Reigns' dominance as the tribal chief, or Edge trying to complete his comeback story against another dominant champion in Drew McIntyre. So that's going to be interesting. And for Bianca Belair, I've stated this like a couple of times on the predictions video last week about her going after Sasha Banks, because it just makes more compelling sense for her to do so, to prove that, like, well, if Sasha Banks is the boss, then why not prove that if Belair is the EST, then why not go try to beat the boss? So it's going to be an interesting road for WWE, especially as we build up to this WrestleMania. And this was a good start. I don't know if they're gonna be able to keep it up. But this was a really good show. Anyway, everyone, that's it for this episode of Very Cold Lasagna. I hope what did you guys think of the Royal Rumble? I thought there were some cool moments, some nice surprise entrants, and they got it right with the Rumble winners. They got it right with the Rumble winners this year after splitting it last year. So a perfect 2 for 2 this year. A perfect 2 for 2. So thank you all for watching this episode of Very Cold Lasagna. Again, let me know what you guys thought about this year's Royal Rumble in the comment section below, at least in the YouTube side of things. You can feel free to share it with me on Twitter if you're listening to on the audio side of things. But anyway, I'm your host, DylanLasagna of the Very Cold Lasagna podcast. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Very Cold Lasagna, and subscribe to me on YouTube and turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified of every single upload and every single podcast that goes up. And listen to me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor for all the latest and greatest of the Very Cold Lasagna podcast. And until next time, keep that lasagna very cold in the fridge with your coldest, dumbest, and your opinionated takes on the world of professional wrestling and sports. Until next time, take care, and I will see you in the next one.